Well, since interest in my Transformers Prime reviews have dipped, I figured I'd change it up a bit and try reviewing a different Transformers series. So I decided to finally review the highly requested Robot Masters series. So without further ado, let's get started with the first episode of the series, Fight, the Group of the Strongest Commanders. We begin this first episode with a little backstory. Basically, the Decepticons are after this new energy source called Solitarium. What they don't explain in the cartoon, though, is that Solitarium actually came from Cybertron. During the events of the Ultimate Doom, when Cybertron was in Earth's orbit, Earth's gravity pulled the Solitarium out of the planet Cybertron before it was blasted away into space. After which, the Solitarium eventually fell to Earth, thus leading to the events of the story that we're discussing now. Also, as a somewhat related side note, did you know that apparently Optimus Prime's axe in Transformers Animated is made of Solitarium? At least according to the Allspark Almanac it is. So we begin this first episode proper with Star Saber battling Starscream. By the way, I am watching the fan dub of this episode done by TFCog. So you can actually watch this for yourself by visiting their website. Hopefully I'll remember to include a link in either the description or in a pinned comment below. But the reason I bring it up is because there are actually some voice actors in this fan dub that would eventually go on to work on official Transformers media. Starting off, Brad Venable, who plays Star Saber here, would also play Cryotech in the BotCon official animation of The Theft of the Golden Disc. And Starscream here is played by Daniel Ross, who would also get to play Starscream in an official capacity as he voiced the movie version of the character in Transformers the Game, the video game based on the 2007 live-action movie. One weird bit of animation in this episode is that when Starscream fires his missiles at Star Saber, what he's actually firing are his null rays, not missiles. We then have Victory Leo arrive and combine with Star Saber to form Victory Saber. Victory Leo is actually played by Frank Tadaro, who is probably the most notable voice actor in this entire fan dub because he would later go on to play Starscream in both the Machinima Prime Wars trilogy and the Netflix War for Cybertron trilogy. After Starscream is saved by Wingstun, we can briefly see him in a Jurwalk mode, just like one of the Veritech fighters from Robotech Macross. It is then that Optimus Prime arrives and blasts Starscream, but he is saved once again, this time by Beast Wars Megatron, riding on top of Gigant Bomb. And I gotta say, I love seeing Megatron ride on top of another Transformer like he's his own personal hoverboard. I wish we'd see more of that in Transformers. We then see Megatron and Optimus Prime fight. But just before Megatron can finish off Prime, Optimus Primal arrives. The two Optimuses, or is it Optimi? Whatever. They combine their energies and Megatron is defeated. And we conclude this first episode with the three leaders, Optimus Prime, Optimus Primal, and Star Saber, having a handshake. And as the camera pans up, we can see that they will soon be joined by another heroic leader, Lio Convoy. So that was the first episode of Robot Masters. It's so weird how this almost feels like the prototype to the upcoming Kingdom cartoon, because I fully expect to see some of the same characters face off in that show as well. Optimus Prime, Optimus Primal, Beast Megatron, and Starscream will undoubtedly show up in Kingdom. And I wish that Star Saber, Victory Leo, and Lio Convoy were also in Kingdom. I would have greatly preferred a Commander-class Star Saber or Victory Saber set over Rodimus Prime. And I would really love a modern, updated take on Lio Convoy that isn't a repaint of an existing figure or a very expensive masterpiece. Overall, it's hard for me to criticize this episode too much. The animation is decent for the time, especially considering that this was only made for a DVD packed in with a toy. And this is a fan dub, but some of the voice acting is actually pretty decent. I think the guy that does Starscream actually does a pretty decent Starscream impression. It really reminds me of Doug Parker's Starscream from the Beast Wars episode Possession. So give it a watch over at TFCog if you're interested. Remember to like, subscribe, and do all that other fun stuff. And I'll see you back here next April Fools for the next and final episode of Robot Masters. The Lio Convoy Typhoon enters. So I'll see you next year for that.